I'm going to cut a sign here. This is the first time I've cut 3mm steel. It's about 2.8, 2.9mm. I did a test circle there, which seemed to be okay. I had had an eye on the THC here, so it was running at about 117 volts. I'm running at 49 amps. I think I've got about 70 psi on the pressure there. For my air compressor, I've got it a bit over here, quite a long lead. So what I've done is this is my original air compressor here, which was only very small capacity. I picked up a second-hand one here, only to discover that the motor in it was no good. It's alright, it was a free broken air compressor, so I put a new motor in it, and I've hooked them both up together. And I've got this one here as basically the regulator. So this air compressor here plugs into this one here. So when this motor turns on, it puts power through to that, and then this one switches on at the same time. So they both turn off and on at the same time, which gives me extra air capacity. Alrighty, so in the G code, I've also put pauses in between each cut. So what I have to do essentially is hit the continue cycle. So if the air compressor turns on halfway through a letter in the first cut that I'm doing here, which is a sign from my brother, he wants a big Harley Davidson motorcycle sign, after each lift it actually pauses and waits for me to hit continue cycle. So if the air compressor turns on, then I'll just wait for it to charge up and then carry on from there. So everything should be ready to go. Put my safety glasses on. Just check again. All turned on, all good. Alrighty. So, start cycle. Regen of the toolpath, and we are ready to go. Okay, so we'll just stop it there and we'll take that bit of metal out. Yeah, so as you can see, it's probably handy having it stop, because when your bits of metal drop down like that, that's going to cause issues for your machine if it crashes into it. So we'll just take that out of the way. Right, 1M. I guess I'm going to have the words Harley Davidson motor as well at the end of this. Alright, we shall carry on. Alright, so the air compressor's turned off, took a few minutes to charge that up, and we'll carry on. Carry on. Once again, the metal has dropped away, so we'll clear that once it stops blowing. Wouldn't want to crash into that. The more I see this stopping thing, the better I think it is. Alright, continue cycle. Alright, that one didn't drop away, it might have just spot welded on there. We'll carry on. Again, the air compressor's turned on, so we'll wait for that to finish. Okay, carrying on. All good. Clear there, so we'll continue cutting. All good. Okay, so that's the end of the first bit. Next bit we're going to cut is the top parts and around. So what I'm going to do is turn on the THC for those. For what I've just done, I haven't used the torch height controller just because everything's fairly close. But this next run, I'm not sure how flat the table is, so we'll turn the THC on and see how that goes. Okay, so we've got the THC here on, set to 117 volts, which is what it seemed to be doing on average when it was cutting here. So that's sort of how I'm going to do it. I'm running at the same speed, so everything should be good. And I'm cutting now sort of those bits there. So they're quite long parts, and that may require some adjustment of the Z-axis when it's actually cutting. So let's hit the start button and see what happens. Moving over to the start position. Not much movement on the THC at all there, just sitting steady. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. That was quite a long cut. And the air compressor's only now turned on. Alright. Okay, compressor's off, we'll continue on. Okay, so we had a bit of an issue there. The safety switch switched off, I guess when it was cutting and the air compressors were both on. It was not happy, so it tripped the safety switch. I may have to plug the air compressor into the house rather than through the shed. So, oh well, we learn these things. So now I'll regenerate a toolpath just to finish that off and carry on with that outside bit. Okay, so what I've done is just create a bit of G-code that'll run from the R and finish that off. So it's just a small line, and then we'll go down and do that next part. So fingers crossed this works. Okay, so it stopped again. So I'm guessing it's the consumables. This is my first change of consumable. That's got a hole in it. So it's worn out. It's a good thing I've got spares. So we'll pop a new one in and we'll give it another go. Okay, so let's try that again. Seemed to do the trick. I didn't quite finish it off there. I'll just hit that with a saw. Okay, so this is the last bit of the cut. It kind of did a spatter there, and I don't know what, it just didn't cut that bit. That was quite bizarre. Learning lots with this job. Alright, last bit is to cut around the outside. So that's a pretty long cut. Air compressor's fully charged. I've loaded the new G-code to cut around the outside. So let's give it a go. So you noticed it stopped again at the end there, and I had to restart it. What I noticed is that my touch-off switch had something in the top there had come a little bit loose, and it had actually adjusted itself. So rather than being 0.4 millimeter touch-off, it was actually 2 millimeters. So that was probably causing issues all along, where it was essentially too close to the material and shorting out, I suppose. Maybe that's why it was stopping, but I tightened it all up and measured it again and readjusted it so it's 2 millimeters. Reset it. Didn't use the torch height controller on the last bit because it was such a short cut, so as it wouldn't be dropping down or trying to adjust the height, and it finished off just nicely. So yeah, I learned a little bit while doing this job.